Imagine the scene: ancient Rome, streets packed with cheering crowds, and a victorious general parading through the city in a golden chariot. It's a day of ultimate glory, a Roman triumph. But amidst the thunderous applause, another sound rises from the ranks of the marching soldiers: raunchy, insulting, and downright lewd songs directed at their own commander. This wasn't mutiny. It was a bizarre and brilliant Roman tradition. So, why on earth would soldiers publicly roast their leader on his best day ever? This practice was a crucial part of the triumph ceremony, designed for a very specific purpose: to keep the general humble. The Romans were deeply superstitious. They believed that excessive pride, or hubris, could attract the jealousy of the gods, leading to a swift and terrible downfall. To ward off this divine envy, or what they called the evil eye, they had a few tricks up their sleeve. One famous method was having a slave stand behind the general in his chariot, continuously whispering, "Memento mori," remember, you are mortal. But the soldiers' songs took this concept to a whole new, much more entertaining level. As they marched behind their commander, they would belt out what were known as carmen triumphale, or triumphal songs, full of obscene jokes and personal insults. These chants were a form of ritualized mockery. They reminded the general that, despite his godlike status for the day, he was still a flawed human being. He had to listen, stone-faced, while his men aired his dirty laundry for the entire city to hear. This public humbling was seen as a vital safeguard, a way to balance the overwhelming adulation and keep the general grounded in reality. It was a fascinating mix of honor and humiliation, celebration and satire. The most famous and well-documented example of this tradition comes from the triumphs of none other than Julius Caesar. After his successful campaigns in Gaul, Caesar returned to Rome for a lavish celebration in 46 BC. His loyal legionaries who had fought and bled for him didn't hold back. The historian Suetonius recorded some of the verses they sang, and they were hilariously brutal. One of the most notorious chants alluded to a youthful rumor about Caesar's relationship with King Nicomedes of Bithynia. The soldiers sang something along the lines of, "All the Gauls did Caesar vanquish, Nicomedes vanquished him. Lo, now Caesar rides in triumph, victor over all the Gauls. Nicomedes does not triumph, who subdued the conqueror." Can you imagine? In his moment of greatest victory, Caesar had to listen to his men chanting about a scandalous rumor from his past, essentially calling him the Queen of Bithynia. But they weren't done. They also took aim at his reputation as a womanizer and his thinning hairline. Another chant went, "Men of Rome, keep close to your consorts. Here's a bald adulterer. Gold in Gaul you spent in dalliance, which you borrowed here in Rome." They were calling him a bald adulterer and accusing him of funding his affairs with borrowed money. It was a no-holds-barred roast, performed by the very men who had won him the victory. This might seem shocking to us, but for the Romans, it served a vital social function. The crowds loved it. These songs provided raucous entertainment, breaking the solemnity of the parade with bursts of laughter. It was street-level comedy, turning a state ceremony into a public festival. It also spoke volumes about the relationship between a general and his troops. This wasn't just insubordination. It was a sign of a unique bond. The soldiers felt comfortable enough with their commander to mock him publicly, and the commander was expected to take it in stride. His ability to endure the ridicule without anger was a testament to his character and reinforced the Roman value of humility, even in the face of immense success. It showed he was one of them, a soldier at heart, who could take a joke. This camaraderie was the bedrock of the Roman army's effectiveness. The main source we have for these specific songs is the historian Suetonius in his work Lives of the Caesars. He gives us this incredible, colorful glimpse into the rowdy reality of a Roman triumph. Modern historians like Mary Beard in her definitive book The Roman Triumph confirmed that while the evidence for Caesar is strong, we assume this was a standard part of most, if not all, triumphs. It's just that the specific verses sung about other generals, like Pompey the Great or Scipio Africanus, weren't written down or haven't survived. It's likely that this was an old, unwritten tradition passed down through the legions. Each army would have its own inside jokes and specific dirt on their commander, making the songs fresh and personal for every triumph. The general would know it was coming. The soldiers would spend weeks perfecting their insults, and the crowd would eagerly await the performance. So what happened to this wild tradition? As the Roman Republic transitioned into the Roman Empire under Augustus, the nature of the triumph changed. Triumphs became much rarer and were eventually reserved almost exclusively for the emperor himself or his immediate family. This drastically reduced the opportunities for these songs to be sung. While the practice likely continued in some form during the early empire, imagine soldiers singing about Emperor Augustus's supposed love affairs or personal quirks. The political climate was different, and mocking the emperor, even ritually, was a much riskier business than mocking a republican general. As the empire evolved and later adopted Christianity as its state religion, the bawdy, pagan nature of these chants would have been frowned upon. The solemnity of Christian-fluenced ceremonies would have left little room for obscene jokes. There's no specific record detailing when or why the tradition officially ended. It likely just faded away as the political and cultural landscape of Rome shifted. The rowdy, satirical, and surprisingly democratic spirit of the Republican army gave way to the more rigid, hierarchical structure of the later empire. But the legacy of these lewd songs gives us a priceless insight into the Roman mindset. It shows us that their world wasn't all marble statues and stoic speeches. It was loud, messy, and full of humor. They understood the danger of an unchecked ego and built a system to deflate it right in the middle of their biggest celebrations. It was a perfect blend of military discipline and carnivalesque chaos, a reminder that even the greatest conquerors were, in the end, just men, and their soldiers would never let them forget it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into the wild side of Roman history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from the ancient world. See you next time.